All right. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Arnel Tanyag with Tanyag Company. I'm MAPS business coach and certified referral trainer. Today I have a special guest. I'm introducing one of my good friends who owns a business law firm. And the reason I'm doing an interview today is because, look, in today's environment with COVID-19, we got to see how people are doing business, especially one of the things as a business coach, we want to bring great resources for business owners. So what we're going to do is we're interviewing a good friend of mine named John Rabil with Launch. Am I correct, John?
Yes.
So the reason we're doing this is because, look, in today's market, we got a lot of business owners going through all this ups and downs with COVID, the PPP, the EDIL, and right now they need more of a legal counsel than anything else. So let me go ahead and pull out my list of questions. I'm going to go ahead and ask John. John, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So as Arnel mentioned, I own a law firm, Launch. It works with small and mid-sized businesses based in Richmond, but operate virtually. So clients all across the state. Married, have a 3-year-old son. So that's obviously a handful with all this going on.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
As you know, but yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Tell us one thing that nobody knows about. Nobody knows that you're willing to share on live video.
So something very few people know. I'm scared of clowns.
Really?
Yeah, they're terrifying.
Oh, man. So you don't like watching that It movie, huh?
No. Definitely not.
My kids love that movie. I don't like that movie, man. I think it's scary. So tell me how long you've been open. How long you've been in business?
Yeah, I started this business about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And so, it's been growing ever since then.
Tell us about I like your business model. Tell us how unique you are. I really like how you deliver your legal services. Tell us the uniqueness of your service.
Yeah. So when I was starting out this business, one thing I was focusing on is, what would be a better way to deliver legal services to small and mid-sized businesses. And the billable hour, which is a standard for basically all law firms, just doesn't work well specifically for business owners, I think, because, they want things done quickly and efficiently. And the flip side of that is the law firms want to rack up as many billable hours as possible. So their goals aren't really aligned. So started looking at a subscription-based model where my clients pay me a flat fee every month that basically covers their legal needs plus unlimited counseling and advising. And so really the goal is to be proactive. Most law firms are reactive. They show up when there's already a problem or an issue. That's more expensive and more time consuming. I think a subscription-based model allows for more of a strategic partner relationship with my clients. And we can address issues sort of before they become full-blown disputes or lawsuits. It's really centered around counseling and advising.
Yeah, so they have you on retainer, and they pay a flat fee, which allows them to have a really true attorney on call.
Yep, true dedicated attorney. Questions come up, call, email, whatever works best for them. Nobody's watching the clock, so they're not waiting till the last minute to try to address things that might be issues for them.
Wow, that's amazing. So how has COVID-19 affected your business?
So a couple of different ways. One thing, it's trying to find the time to stay on top of all this information that's coming out that could impact my clients. You've got the Families First, you've got all the loan programs, PPP, EIDL loans. Information about some of that's changing on a daily basis. So trying to stay on top of all that so my clients have information they need to make the best decisions about their business going forward has been a time-consuming endeavor, monitoring all that.
But they appreciate that. That's what your model's set up for that.
Yeah, right. And, they've got tons of other stuff going on. I just want to be able to research source for them, get them the information so they can make the best decision.
That's really good. So What do you think about this COVID-19? What do you think? What's your personal opinion about it, or your professional opinion about it?
It's pretty terrifying, I'd say, right now. Mainly in terms of just the unknown. And some businesses are being forced to shut down. There's nothing they can do to control that. So, employees are out of work. They're not bringing in any money. They still have, in some cases, all the operating costs that were associated with their business, but they can't make any money. And going back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, there's still not a lot of answers about things like when's this money coming that people are applying for.
That's right.
How are they going to be able to use it? What are their options with it? So I think it's a lot of just wait and see, which is uncomfortable when you're talking about your business and something you put so much time and energy into building.
Yeah, I agree. How have you adapted as a result of COVID-19?
So one thing I've been really trying to do is be a resource, and even just for the business community as a whole. Like if people have a couple of quick questions or something, I'm happy to answer them. I think everybody's dealing with this situation. So the more everyone can come together and sort of support each other to try to pull out of it, I think the better off everyone will be in the long run.
That's true. I think it's all about helping people now, just getting the information, and then if they want to do business, they'll do it with you right there, or they'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Well, what are some ideal clients that you see that you can really help during this COVID-19 coronavirus period?
Yeah. So from a general standpoint, this is hitting small, mid-sized businesses that have employees in a big way. They're having to deal with all that. More specifically on my end, a couple of industries I've been working with, mental health counseling, landscape companies, contractors, construction businesses, a lot of consulting firms in general, service providers, marketing research firms. They're all just finding ways to adapt. A lot of these businesses, a big part of what they did was in person. They're not set up to run completely virtually. So it's how do you adapt to that? What changes can you make to try and move forward in the short term, and also be preparing yourself to try and come out of this in the best possible way when it starts to blow over.
So it sounds like you're working with companies probably 10 employees or more, at least up to $1 million or more in revenue. But really, employees are the main, just getting them structured well.
Yeah, that's one end of it. I work with a lot of solo entrepreneurs too. They still have a lot of risks coming up around just business in general, and how they're going to manage through this.
Yeah, and probably the contracts. A lot of business owners don't really work on their contracts. The contracts now and the policies and procedures have to be really tight.
Yeah, and one thing around contracts that people are starting to get concerned about, it's whether or not their clients or customers are going to try and either pause contracts or break them all together because this is an unknown event. Does that give them an out? Because they do not want to outlay the revenue the contract requires at the time. And so how to deal with that? How flexible do you want to be? All those types of things.
Yeah, it's unknown because it sounds like it's a big major issue, which it is now people are trying to figure out where do I stand legally. So, a lot of businesses, they'll wait till it explodes and they call and it costs more money. They need to be talking to someone like you to get ahead of it, not behind it.
Right. Figuring out what your options are, both from a legal standpoint, but also from a business standpoint. How are you going to make those decisions? So I think they go hand in hand. Got to make the best decision you can for your business, but you need to make sure you're protecting yourself as much as possible when you're doing that.
Yeah, it is true because you have to make two decisions, one for the business and one for you, so that you're protecting both you and the business. And a lot of times, most people make decisions for themselves, not for the business, and so the business doesn't survive.
Right.
And they don't have a sounding board. They don't have somebody like you on a legal standpoint to talk to, which is kind of scary because this is where you really need to have an attorney that you can actually talk to.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, even businesses that use attorneys, they operate in terms of like a silo. Business isn't part of or legal isn't part of their regular operations, so they aren't thinking on a regular basis about how they should be integrating that into their business decisions to protect themselves. So they make a lot of these decisions without considering some of those implications, and specifically now that could be a bad situation.
No, I agree. So what do you want people to know with what's going on with what because I know I'm doing this video to introduce you to my network and people know what do you want people to know and remember after they watch this video?
Yeah. So in general about this situation,
Yep.
I think managing your workers is something to stay on top of, whether you're using independent contractors or employees. There's a lot of implications with some of these laws that are being passed, like Families First, for example. They've got the paid leave provisions in there. So, really knowing when they come into play, what your responsibilities are going to be if they come into play, and sort of how to protect the business as much as possible should you be in a situation where you're going to have to do paid leave or the expanded family and medical leave. And then in general, on top of that, issues with employees in terms of, are you going to a remote work policy? How are you going to manage that? That comes with its own set of potential problems. And then, if it ends up being the case that you're going to have to look at layoffs or furloughs as a way to sort of get through this in the short term, how do you do that in the safest way possible? And then what are your options on setting yourself up to be able to come out of it quickly when either this blows over or you get some of the PPP money that you can use for workforce?
Yeah, so it sounds like it's really important that they have somebody that can really run these questions through, not just not looking on the internet and kind of guessing at it.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot. We were basically just hitting on the worker part there. Contracts we briefly talked about. Making sure any major decisions are being made appropriately so you can continue to limit the liability of the owners of the business. I think this has far-reaching implications.
Yeah. How has your business changed since COVID? Because you do most of your stuff virtual, am I correct?
Yeah, so the day-to-day in terms of working hasn't changed because I already was operating virtually. Obviously, it's changed in terms of being able to network with people and get out there and do so, relying more heavily on sort of LinkedIn, what connections you have there, doing Zoom calls,
Zoom calls,
and like that. So
how are you showing generosity and care to the people in your community? Are you doing anything uniquely different now since COVID's coming up?
Yeah, it's not so much different as it is just a very increased production in terms of information. So I'm putting it out much more frequently, creating more around best practices, how you can try and manage this as much as possible. And so, like earlier, I'm just willing to get that out there to anyone who wants to see it at this point.
All right, so you're just providing more relevant content to people that before you used to send on a schedule. Now you're just let's provide content that I know that you had vetted.
Yeah,
so they could use it.
So before, like you said, it was more just on a regular schedule. Now I'm tracking this information when it's coming out, putting together something as quickly as I can, and getting it out. As soon as I'm done.
Good. No, that's good. So, how can people reach you if they have to reach you? What's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, so either email or phone. My phone number is 757-647-9232. My email is kind of long. It's probably, info@launchstrategylegal.com, or J Rabil, JRABIL @strategylegal.com, or contact page on the website. All great options.
Yeah, I mean, this is very simple. I mean, if you fill out this contact page, put your first name, last name, email address, he'll reach out to you. That's his office line, and then that's info@launchstrategylegal.com. I mean, that's just who he is, and which is really good because he's, I pulled out his website. You can actually see where you can contact them, which is amazing. So I'm gonna leave this up there. So here's the reason I had John on there, because here, as a business coach and certified referral trainer, I work with a lot of business owners, and a lot of times what you're going to find out, you're going to find some of the vendors who are actually engaging them to keep them informed, or they're not doing anything at all. So the goal and objective, I want to provide resources like John, because I like this business model of having one attorney who's on retainer who can ask questions. So if you're a business owner right now, go ahead and reach out to John by here's his stuff online. Comment below and hey, I want to ask you questions, and I'm going to tag some people out there in Hampton Roads and let this guy help you, because here's the thing. Here's what I want you to remember is how you respond today is how you'll come out on the tail end. Am I right, John?
Yeah, I think with all this going on, no one knows how it's going to play out. At this point, it's never too early to start thinking about what steps you're going to try and take to come out of this.
Yep. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's how you respond now. You know, if you weren't using an attorney before, you probably want to consider using an attorney now. Get that going, build that relationship, get that practices in place. So when this thing kind of blows over, what's going to blow over, or we have to adapt, you're going to be ahead of the game.
Yeah, and I think while this is a bad situation, I have talked to some business owners who are finding a little bit more free time on their hands. So what they're doing with that is looking at some strategies they can implement that maybe have been in the back of their mind, they hadn't had time to get to, or might be an advantage for them coming out of this. So, you know, what are the potential risks or issues that are going to come with that? And so how can we be ready to address them, and everything can roll out quickly once things change?
Yeah, and the thing I like about John is he's a business attorney. That's all he works with is business owners. He doesn't do wills, estates, doesn't go to courts, business. He has resources of other people he can refer out to, but he's purely business. He's in that zone. You know, when you work with law firms, you got different specialties, but you don't always get the relationship with the one attorney. With John, you get the relationship with him. Am I right, John?
Yeah. Plus, I'm a small business owner too, so I understand firsthand what a lot of these people are going through just on a business level. You know, not necessarily anything to do with legal, but you know, I deal with all those things as well.
No, I agree. And I think you have a unique perspective on that. So again, I want to thank John for being on our interview. And so, guys, I'm going to leave you with this: is if you're looking for a business attorney that can be on retainer and answer your questions, answer concerns, and help you be proactive and create a smart legal process and systems, especially in this day and age, not only will it help you now, it's going to help you when you leave out of here. So again, I'm going to share this video, make some contacts, but if you're interested, comment below, DM, Facebook message John, call him on that number on the video is 80 phone number, and I'll put his contact on the comments below, but reach out to him, because don't let legal blow up. You need to go have a conversation now. All right. Thanks, John. Guys, thanks for watching. And then I'll have this out to you, and you guys have a great day. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Arnel.